Welcome back to Sahara TV. We're still talking about the transition, and we're bringing you a rather interesting story. In 1984, a certain journalist was jailed by the then General Muhammadu Buhari, who was the head of state of Nigeria. 31 years on, this gentleman is an avid supporter of General Muhammadu Buhari. He is a journalist and a columnist. What does he think about the general's record as far as press freedom goes and other matters? We have on the line Mr. Tunde Thompson, the journalist who was jailed by General Muhammadu Buhari some 30 and plus years ago and is today his avid supporter. You're welcome to Sahara TV, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so sir, in 1984 you were jailed by the then General Buhari. What happened? Why were you jailed?
Well, I've got a book titled Power and the Press, in which all the story is told about Decree number 4 of 1984, which the military promulgated. But as far as I'm concerned, by February 1984, when I was arrested, February 11, 1984, in the premises of the Guardian newspapers, there was no decree number 4. I just had done my jobs, reporting. I was senior diplomatic correspondent then, reporting on developments in the diplomatic scene. There were embassies that were closed off because of financial difficulties. There were changes of diplomatic officers or ambassadors, and there were also retirements of diplomats in the foreign service. All of them were in my territory, I should say. They were within my jurisdiction, and I reported them. So I think there were some of the reports that the government did not like, and they arrested me first because they wanted, under decree number 2, that was the security decree, that is, which empowered them to detain people. I was arrested on that February 11 and taken to the Security Organization Office, NSO, along Awolowo Road, off Awolowo Road in Korea. I was surprised. I told my colleagues I was wanted to do something at the Nigerian Security Organization offices, and I couldn't know what they were after. And I thought I should tell them before leaving. And they said, well, they were going to tell the lawyer. So what I can say is that when I got there, it was no picnic. There was nothing I could do but to cooperate with them. And I was there for maybe 2-3 weeks detention before the decree itself was promulgated. And the person who reported it was detained along with me, because I wrote one of these reports, which I handed to him when I had to go to Edo State for my grandmother's burial in a place called Obola, on one West local government area of Edo State. He touched, as assistant news editor, he did some visitations, I think, to the British High Commission and one other place, and amended some of what I wrote, which caused some problems.
Interesting.
And when I was arrested and asked what happened, well, I said I wouldn't be able to answer the question they were asking me, that they will need to talk to Ndoka about, to whom I gave my manuscript before traveling. All right. So they brought him in to the prison, to the detention center. That one evening, the evening after the press conference was held. World press conference addressed by Mr. Ofodile, who was Attorney General or something. It was the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. They brought him in. But I made a request to the policeman, please put me on the corridor.
Let me ask you at this point, Mr. Thompson. Did you go through any form of trial at all? Did anybody ask you any questions before you were put away for the number of weeks that you mentioned?
No, they just put me there. In fact, it was an 8 by 12 room that could pass for an office. About 12 of us were kept there. It wasn't me alone in the office. Call it office in the cell. We just were kept there. There was no. I didn't see a lawyer. Nobody appeared.
And how were you finally released? What happened before you were finally released?
There was no release, my brother. Release. That was. We were, when both of us were now put in different cells. Okay, what I was trying to say was that I told them what they were asking me, the questions that were being put to me, and I said they wanted to know the sources of the information I had, and I refused to tell them in my statements, and he should make sure he did not tell them. And they said, you are talking there? No, I said, no, I just saying hello. Went into my cell, and they took him to another place. Are you there?
Yeah.
So we were there for quite some time before they went to Chief Rotimi Williams' chambers to get his son, Ladi, who's now running the chambers as a senior partner, I think, to interview us in prison. Even when the lawyer was interviewing me at Kirikiri, the security man was audacious enough to stand there beside her. I said, no, protester, you are not supposed to be where my lawyer is talking to me. Okay,
so sir, let's fast forward a bit to you said there's no release, but apparently you are a free man. At what point did you leave that detention?
After the lawyer's representation, the visit, the next thing was to go to the tribunal. There was a tribunal set up on the decree number 4 to try Nduka, myself, our newspaper, The Guardian, and the trial, of course, led to imprisonment. 1 year in prison. And then the Guardian was fined 50,000 naira. That was a lot of money, even in dollars at that time, you know. It's a penalty, you know, corporate penalty for the involvement.
Interesting.
So, and then that was the beginning of 1 year detention.
I see.
1 year jail, imprisonment. And 1 year jail was 8 months in prison. That's it.
Okay, so what was the media atmosphere like? During the campaign season, people mentioned a lot about President-elect Buhari's record when it comes to press freedom. What was the atmosphere like?
The atmosphere at that time or now?
At that time.
Oh, at that time, the media. I've been the chairman of the Daily Times. I was chairman of the Daily Times chapel of the Daily Times, and I've been active in Nigerian Union of Journalists affairs. I can tell you that Nigerian press had always been vigilant and responsible. And I left the Daily Times for the Guardian because some of us who left felt that the Daily Times had become politically polluted. You know, we went to the Guardian to start something different. When it became a daily, I became a member of staff. I was supposed to have gone to Harare, but I was instead posted to become senior diplomatic correspondent.
Sir, so
the press had always been alert to its responsibilities and basic freedoms.
In terms of government's handling of press freedom, though, what was it like? For example, you were jailed because of something you wrote. Was this overboard? Was this across board?
Sources of information. Was he above board? Was that what you said?
Yes. Was there like a blanket jailing of journalists for what they wrote, or what's your case a one-off incident?
It was a one-off incident. That was the beginning and that was the end, because after the detention and the imprisonment, I tell you, public opinion was so heavily against the government that they didn't have the courage to continue with that decree, to continue trying journalists with that decree.
So let's fast forward even more. 31 years or so on, you are an avid supporter of this same man who, under whose watch you were jailed for what for your convictions. Why do you support General Buhari? Why do you support President-elect Buhari?
Thank you very much. I said I was a columnist earlier with the Daily Sun. It's because I've had some problem with arthritis in my right hand and feet. I've stopped the column for almost 2 years now. At the time that happened, that is the arrest and trial and detention and all that, and imprisonment, I was very, very much certain that the press needed to retain its freedom in terms of doing its duties without interference. But let me tell you, the order to arrest and detain Mr. Tunde Thompson was given not by Buhari, it was given by the state officials.
Sir, one would argue, excuse me, sir, one would argue that these officials are working under a structure supervised by the then General Buhari. Wouldn't you say so?
Excuse me, I don't think so. I don't think so. What I knew, the main reason, I'm not going to argue about all that. The main reason I decided to forgive General Buhari and said so when in an interview with the Daily Sun organization was that they were using that is the opposition, the rivals, the PDP, were using, and other people were using the decree number 4 as an excuse to malign General Muhammadu Buhari, and saying all sorts of things about his person, about the decree number 4, some of which, the details of which they didn't know, like they probably were saying that we were arrested and jailed in February, taken away, and so on, which was not correct. It was only me who was taken from the Sun premises. What I considered important was that when I compared him to General, Dr. Ebele Jonathan, I felt that what's his name?
Buhari.
General Buhari would do a far better job as head of state. I know that his first outing as military head of state was promising, although there were some mistakes made, like kidnapping somebody from London, Alhaji Diko, who made so much money in Nigeria and ran away to Britain. And the new government decided that they had to deal with him. And he was, you will know all the details, all right? It was drugged and put in a cage. I'm not going to defend that.
My time is running out. My time is running out, but I need to ask you maybe 1 or 2 more questions briefly. If you can push these 2 within a very short time, that would be great.
Okay, I'll make it.
First of all, I understand that you played a certain role. Not only are you just an avid supporter of General Buhari or President-elect Buhari, you in fact played a part in the campaign. What part did you play?
No, I did not. I did not play a part in the campaign other than talking to people who were maligning him about what I knew regarding decree number 4 and how people were saying things they didn't know about the decree, and that I myself had decided to forgive him because 31 years after that decree was long enough for people to to stop trying to use an imprisonment to destroy a political career, a political future.
All right. Well, that's well said. My last question to you, sir. Certain people have said, pundits have said that no matter how bad, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan may have been as a head of state, there's one thing that he got right, which is press freedom. People say that today, the Nigeria of today has a lot more tolerance than it has probably ever enjoyed under the dispensation of democracy. Would you give President Jonathan at least that he at least did well?
Will I give him?
Would you give him credit for at least maintaining a fair level of media freedom?
As far as I'm concerned, that is not an issue on the table. When we are considering or comparing, we can do that. But I'm not interested in giving anybody any shall I say, praise for what is supposed to be normal.
Fair enough.
Are you there?
Fair enough.
For what is supposed to be normal.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Thompson. We really appreciate your time on SaharaTV today, sir.
Yes, and I commend you for your efforts. Many people talk about you, and I wish you God's protection all the way.
Same to you, sir. Thank you very much. SaharaTV, we bring it to you every time. Stay tuned.